All right, we're gonna do like one or two rapid games to explain the move as I go along. So the way I do it is me playing rapid, and like this game right now, um, and then I just make moves. So let's say knight c3, but when I make moves, I explain the moves. So it's a syncing process, what to do during the game and what I'm looking for, what kind of plans and what kind of ideas, like what my opponent would be doing. And for people who doesn't know, I'm a master, right? Just be aware that I'm a master. You should be looking at the tag. So he plays here. I could play e4. It may transpose to like e5, and he may not be. He may play something else like c5. So e5, I would probably play the Vienna, which is he plays here. This is a Scandinavian from the Alakine, I guess. Scandinavian. So here we could push. So we could do this, supposedly. If he takes, we could take that way. That's fine. There's also take that way, which is, you could take that way or take this way. We'd try this one. So the point of this take is like bishop gets activated that way. So, when I take the other way, if I were to take this way, I could still play d4, but, this way the bishop could come fast enough like bishop f4. Um, so he plays here. I mean, black's still solid, so I could play queen d2. Maybe I could castle long. He's going to play bishop e7, I suppose. Maybe. This move is interesting. If you check his knight c6, it's probably bishop e2. That's bishop e2. He plays bishop e7. Now the question is, do I castle short? Do I castle long? He's going to play knight c6 next move. Let's play here, just giving him an indication that maybe g4 is coming in. It's a waiting move, not needed per se. And if here, maybe it's bishop e4. He plays knight c6. Maybe this is the next move coming in. So this double pawn is not really bad idea. This feels like this line almost feels like it's some kind of line in the Petrov, the Nimzovich line where variation where you could play this kind of stuff. And double pawns here, it's okay because obviously you have more control towards the center. This pawn is stopping all of these ideas that the knight doesn't really come in. So this line is pretty interesting here, even for white, like here. So supposedly it's solid enough. He plays knight c6, but if you castle here, I'm not sure if it's solid anymore. We just played safe. I mean, this castle short. He could play queen b6, which is a move, or he doesn't have to. He just castles. He simply castles here. So we just put the rook here, give a little bit of support to e5. Queen b6 is pretty minor here now because I could just simply push the pawn and there's nothing to worry. Queen c7 is more logical, or queen d7 to connect the two rooks, maybe. So usually when you want to, so black did what he can, developing his pieces. So the queen is left, right? So he plays here. He's gaining tempo. So maybe here I just play b3. Hopefully d4 is not later on. Yeah, he's probably trying to play d4. Could we do this? Trade? We could trade. This bishop is active, though. I mean, supposedly this trade is okay. I mean, should we both trade? It's pretty much equal here, I guess. Not much is going on. So he plays here. He's basically saying, if you want to trade, you trade. I will. I guess I would trade. And then we could play here. So this move is a bit tricky because if he were to take, maybe I have an attack, like the queen could go all the way to h4. Like, let's say here, here. If you have the knight on g5, maybe this is playable. You go for some kind of attack. So he knows he's trying to stop it. But what if I try to do it like here and I'm still... So when I take here, maybe the knight gets in here. So he wants to play knight f5, a way to defend. So the idea is maybe queen h4, maybe even g4, takes, knight g5. The idea is like attacking him. I wonder if rook f8, f6 could work, like a way to defend. I don't think it works here. I mean, if he goes here, if I go here, f6, weakening up e6 in general, but I mean, he has to be very careful here how to approach this position. If he would win for this one, this allows a quick attack. 97 may not save him because of g4. So 97, knight f5 is maybe the defense, but if you have g4 stopping knight f5, that works out for white. So there's a reason why he's sinking. I don't blame him here. So maybe he has to like go back with the queen, find a way to defend, but it's still the same ideas. Whether the queen takes, it's actually here. So the idea is here takes knight g5. It's a simple idea. Was you trying to mate, or you try to attack the king. I mean, it may not be mate, but you may take a couple pawns, right? A pawn or two, I guess. It's hard to say what to do. It's all about the speed. It's all about the speed. Speed, sir. Speed. He might consider playing on the center to distract me, like, but maybe I may not react. Like, I don't have to take back. Let's say here, he takes, and I go for the same plans. He plays here, but I could still play this. Could still play with the same ideas. Like, now I want to take knight g5. So the idea is simple, knight g5. And if he takes, knight takes. Because the queen is going here and likely here. I don't know if how well he could save it. I don't know. It looks very difficult to save. Like, by the way, here it's mate. I mean, you don't want to do a move like this anyway. But if he goes for bishop takes and king f8, maybe you still check here. Queen takes g7. That's the point. White may take a point or two, but he's still attacking. So he plays d4, but I still go with the same concept. So let's say here, knight g5, knight f5 is still a possibility. Do I play g4? He takes, knight g5. Maybe giving him this pawn, because if he were to take here, maybe knight takes d4. So if he were to take on d4, he's probably going to trade the knight that supposedly should be going to g5. So you have to be careful with this pawn take. C4 allows d3. Maybe you have enough counterplay. So maybe it's taking. I wonder if it's taking and knight takes and g4 or g4 first. G4 to stop knight e7, knight f5. I mean, I could still take. He's not going to take with the rook, though. If he is, he's not. This allows knight g5. So if here, knight g5, knight f5, here. I don't take g7 because the knight is defending g7. So if the knight lands here, it defends g7. Let's go with g4. See what he does. So if he takes here, which he might, I just simply do this on knight g5. So g4 is just stopping knight f5, pretty much. There's a good argument here by white. It's just we are taking next. Now f6 is just me taking, so it's gonna be a free pawn, and the attack's still happening, and e6 is weak. So now he doesn't have this move. This move is knight takes. This move is still takes here, knight g5. It's hard to say how he defend. d3, do I have to react? This takes knight g5. He cannot play d2 or takes because there's mate coming in. It's hard to say what he does here. Maybe it's already tough. I mean, maybe it's already winning for white. You may have to go back. Going back, how could you stop this queen f4, queen h4 idea? And that's, sometimes you need to stop. So sometimes in a chess game, you do need to stop the plan ahead of time. Like knowing this is like a good plan from your opponent, you just have to stop it from happening. If you allow the plan to happen like this way, you may not be able to defend like the next couple moves. Like this is a good example. So he plays here. I understand why he played here because actually the knight is still not going to g5, but he's giving up a rook for that. Like, in exchange for that, it's not giving an entire rook, but in exchange. I still have knight g5, so I'm not sure what exactly this move does. I mean, I could still take queen takes knight g5. I'm still threatening mate. So this is takeable, knight g5. I'm not sure what he's, what does exactly does this move does. It's actually boxing the king much more. Like bishop f8, like the king now is more stuck than before. He might resign here. It wouldn't surprise me if he resigned. Like, he probably sees knight g5 is coming, and then how could he stop this? So queen h7 would be mate after knight g5. So this is actually the problem. Now he moved the bishop. He's getting mated. Here, and queen h8. The only way to stop it is queen takes. You don't have f6 because there's mate, so you cannot really stop h7 mate. So he resigned. So we could take a look at why this is a problem. We'll see what the computer is basically saying. So here everything is okay. White is actually slightly better. Knight c. In general, this may be slightly better line for white, but it's okay. So I was talking about take this way or take this way. So you could still take, this way is more preference, but if you go here, the computer drops a little bit. I believe this is really still playable though, because you eventually get to play d4. Like let's say e6, you still play d4 here, and then maybe bishop d3 and bishop f4 coming in. So this move is it's a good move here in general, and then here, everything looks okay, equalized. So everything is okay. I mean, maybe black is better here now. Bishop e4. So I talked about how h3 is a waiting move. It was not that great of a waiting move. I mean, the computer is giving h3, but supposedly here you do have to play this move, bishop b3. So black doesn't get really active. But it's still equalized. I suppose this is okay. So here after castle, there's maybe bishop e4. I guess maybe the computer wants this kind of stuff. Let's say you play rook here. Maybe queen b6. Yeah, the computer is getting some active. Wants some, is looking at some active play by black. But, I felt like this is okay. So here, he played here, b3. I could have played bishop d3, by the way. There's a line here the computer is giving me here. This is not really ideal, which is something I forgot about during the game because I could play here and take that way. So let's say here. And then here, by the way, here the queen is trapped. Just to point out, this is actually queen is trapped that way. You may have to take. So this is one way of like dealing with this move. You have to go here and queen e3 and then takes on. Something like this, and rook takes b7. So white would be active here, +2. So this move would have been better. And if you were to take, it's probably pawn takes. Yes, pawn takes. So you could defend here. The queen is defending b2. So this is still like equal, I guess. I mean, the computer is basically saying this is equal, but b3 is okay, I guess. But so supposedly here, and then I played bishop g5. Wow. So the computer wants this move. So this is one of the exception here. It's interesting. I was kind of like not 100% sure this was a mistake, right? So the problem is sometimes when we say this kind of trade, you always take towards the center. Like this is like an autopilot kind of move. But here it feels like it's a mistake. And this is where like exception in chess really is very hard. Like this move, what's wrong with that move? It turns out to be that the reason for this move, I mean, typically when you take f takes, it opens up for the rook, like this move. So when you play bishop g5, it turns out to be this maybe here and also here. So now there's no like trouble. Like now if you were to play queen f4, I'm assuming rook f8. And then when you play queen h4, you could simply defend by h6. There's no knight g5. So now once you trade here, this is like a solid enough, right? This is very solid. I mean, this is not the position I would like to see, right? From White's perspective. So it's funny that here, this is a good exception, and when exactly which way to take. It's not like it's automatically that you take toward the center. There are exception in the game, in chess games, right? Two bishop pair is not always good. Thus depends on the position, what it tells you. So the mistake is actually take towards the center because this allows bishop g5. The computer is basically saying it's almost like white is better here, slightly better, because of this plan that I was trying to do. So he has to defend like queen e5. It's giving me like queen e5. So preparing something like let's say white is being careless here. Let's say king h1. Maybe it's playing towards the center, and now this is maybe like equalized. It's equal by now. So this move is not the greatest. It does give queen f4 is +1 by now, and now it's very hard to defend. Maybe bishop f8 here. So it's basically saying bishop f8. It's a way to defend. And then it's still queen h4. Still queen h4 with the idea that white is still creating all these knight g5 plan. So it's giving me c4 and bishop e3, and this is actually winning, supposedly. Close to winning, I guess. May have to play bishop e7 again, and I mean, maybe bishop e7 is needed. If you misplay, you go back here, it's knight g5. Again, it's mate. So around here, it's just a very difficult position. I mean, this is already lost, +2, +3, +4. It turns out to be that g4 is not needed. This is a kind of a mistake by me. So the computer is basically saying, use a stake. Knight takes. You just go for knight g5. You don't care about knight f5. So knight f5 is queen here. Maybe g4 here. So yeah, g4 like now. So even though the knight is sitting on f5, he still plays g4. So the point is, if you play here, then you have queen h8, king e7, and then you take on g7. You could see that the king is in trouble. The knight is really like trappy, winnable in some lines. I mean, he cannot play here, right? So then this is actually kind of like if you go here, you're getting punished. It's checkmate, right? So the knight is kind of trappy. This is actually a computer line where you just have to lose a knight. So the big mistake by me, if anything, is I played g4 too early, which I could have went for like the forcing line. But still, g4 is not a biggest mistake. You do lose I don't know if he could defend though, and I think queen e5 was a really needed move. Still like almost +2, I guess. Maybe here, knight g. It's giving me pawn takes. Knight g5. So this is still winning. Yeah, technically still winning. Queen c3, and this is actually like kind of the same issues. Rook c1. So there's an attack going on. Knight h7 is possibly happening. Queen takes. So let's say here, there's also like knight h7 here, queen takes g7. And white is still winning technically. I mean, should be winning. The king is like, not really safe here. You take a pawn. He's still actively attacking. So this game is really interesting. I actually feel like it's worth noting that the mistake here by black is just taking the wrong way. A lot of people would do this without thinking, but you do have to look at what's happening because my plans are coming fast enough. Like once you play here, bishop g5 is fast enough. You don't play f6. If you play f6, you can see this is like +4, right? Something like even here. The computer enjoy the attack. It just feels like it's overwhelming attack here by white. So you could sack and winning because the king is really exposed. So it's a good game in terms of like showing you how to take, how to grab. I mean, he took it fast enough, if I'm not mistaken, like really fast, I guess. But this is one of the exceptions where you don't assume that everything, because we have a guidelines in chess, you always have to like go with the guidelines. There are some exceptions where not every single game you do have to castle, right? There are certain openings where you don't castle. You may delay the castling. Two bishop pairs are not always good. Two knights may actually beat two bishops, right? If it's close positions, right? Sometimes knights will be better than a bishop in an ending, right? I mean, there are like a list of exceptions that we could go over. And that's one of them you take toward the center, but this time you just take that way. So you could weaken up e6, but e6 is really not a weak pawn per se, like not in a situation like this. And you just use that, you take that way so you could open up for the rook, and the queen could come back to defend on c7. Hopefully you guys enjoy this game and you like it, and we'll stay tuned for more games to provide. Thank you for tuning in, folks.